The M1978 Koksan and M1989 are interesting weapon systems. Alongside their gigantic looks, the curtain of mystery over them makes these self-propelled guns, or shortly SPG, intriguing. For some, they're just ancient and incapable artillery weapons, while for others, they still have meaning in modern battlefields. As the weapon detective, we're now investigating the M1978 and M1989, the 180mm SPGs of North Korea. The M1978 Koksan and M1989 are indeed mysterious SPGs. Their capabilities, features, history, or even real names are unknown. The US sources have given the designations M1978 and Koksan since they first saw it in 1978 in Koksan, North Korea. The South Korean sources named the SPG Chuche or Chuchepu, which mean main or main gun respectively. Again, the M1989 takes its name from the year when it was first seen. Even though its name refers to the year 1978, the development of the M1978 goes back to the early 1970s. Before that, North Korea had already begun to work on domestic self-propelled artillery systems in the 1960s. The first examples were the M1974 and M1975, which were based on the ATS-59 artillery tractor. Later, North Korea also developed many VTT-323 tracked armored vehicle-based systems. Likewise, the M1978 was only a 170mm gun mounted on a tank chassis. The serial production of the SPG probably began in the early 1970s, even though Western eyes spotted it in 1978. It was first seen publicly during a military parade in 1985. Its later variant, the M1989, has a different chassis. Even though some sources suggest that its carrying vehicle is based on the VTT-323 tracked armored vehicle or modified tank chassis, it looks like a modified ATS-59 artillery tractor. Besides, M1989 has a slightly smaller gun than the M1978. North Korea exhibited this variant at the IDAX 2005 in the United Arab Emirates. In the many videos and photos, several types of the M1989 with slightly different hull shapes have been spotted, which indicates that the SPG has some sub-production models. However, the details are still unknown. According to Janes, the Korean People's Army, shortly KPA, employs its 170mm SPGs in regiments with 36 guns. However, different sources claim that they are the elements of artillery brigades with 3 to 6 battalions, each having 12 guns. They also contain target acquisition, air defense, and supporting engineer units. The 170mm SPGs of the KPA are usually hidden in well-camouflaged concrete structures. The M1978's hull is likely a modified Type 59 main battle tank, a Chinese copy of the T-54A. However, it may also be based on the T-54 or T-55. North Korea acquired T-54 and Type 59 from the USSR and China. Besides, it began to produce the T-55 under license in 1968. Later, North Korea developed Chanmaho main battle tank based on the T-62. Therefore, it is equally possible that North Korea might use all Type 59s, T-54s, or T-55s, which became surplus after the Chanmaho program, for the new SPG. It is only certain that the driver goes with the vehicle. This crew member has the same ballistic, CBRN protection, and night vision equipment as the Type 59 has. There is a second hatch on the right of the driver's hatch. It is probably for either the commander or tool compartment. Unlike the M1978, the M1989's hull is based on the ATS-59 artillery tractor. Its lengthened chassis can carry 12 rounds of ammunition and 4 people. The hull is resistant to small arms fire and shell splinters. The remainder of the gun crew is transported by other vehicles that can carry separate loadings like projectiles and charges. The crew is unprotected during the fire since they have to leave the vehicle. Still, all SPGs carry manpads against immediate air threats. The origin of the 170mm gun is more enigmatic. Some sources claim that it's based on the Second World War German 17cm Canon 18, which might have been supplied to North Korea by the Soviet Union in the 1950s. Still, there is no clear evidence that the USSR gave these guns to North Korea. However, the 17cm Canon 18's maximum range is about 30 kilometers, while the M1978 M1989 can send their rounds to 60 kilometers. Others assert that the gun is based on the Soviet 180mm S-23 gun, whose range is 44 kilometers. After the Second World War, North Korea inherited some Japanese 150mm Type 96 siege guns with a range of about 26 kilometers, also used as a coastal artillery weapon. The most probable scenario is that the North Korean engineers studied these three mentioned guns and independently developed a new one. When the SPG is on the move, the gun is fixed by clamps. M1978 M1989's emplacement time is less than 20 minutes. Two large spades at the very rear are lowered manually before the firing commences. The gun has a multi-slotted muzzle brake but no fume extractor. The screw-type breech mechanism opens to the right. There's a loading tray on the left. The SPG is probably fitted with a power rammer. Unlike its predecessor, the M1989 has no rail recoil system, permanently fixing the mount at the rear, but features two recoil cylinders above the gun instead of one. It is equipped with an upgraded fire control system compared to the M1978. The rate of fire of the 170mm gun is too slow due to lack of an automatic loader, the weight of the rounds, and high barrel friction. M1978 and M1989 can leave their firing position within less than 10 minutes. Iran and North Korea are the users of the SPG. Although Iraq captured some M1978s during the Iran-Iraq War, they never used them, probably due to the lack of ammunition or extensive damage to the vehicles. Still, the Iraqi engineers developed a similar system by combining the 180mm S-23 gun and the BLG-60 bridge layer. According to estimations, the crew of the M1978 is 8 people, including the driver, commander, gunner, and a gun crew of 5. SPG is 14.9 meters long, 3.27 meters wide, and 3.1 meters high. Its combat weight is 40 tons. The 520 horsepower V59 diesel engine provides a maximum speed of 40 kilometers per hour. The range of the vehicle is 300 kilometers. The M1978 can negotiate 1 meter vertical steps and 2.5 meter trenches. It can ford to a depth of 1.2 meters. The 170mm 50 caliber gun has a range of 40 kilometers with a standard projectile and 60 kilometers with a rocket-assisted projectile. Its rate of fire is 1 to 2 rounds per every 5 minutes. The barrel can be traversed at 10 degrees on both sides. The only confirmed combat record of the M1978 happened during the Iran-Iraq War. The Iranian Koksans were used for long-range harassment fire against Kuwaiti oil fields. Still, some sources claim that the North Korean M1989s might have participated in the 2010 bombardment of Yamchang. Since they have quite a low rate of fire, these SPGs with a long firing range are unsuitable for counter-battery missions. Besides, their emplacement displacement time is too long. Therefore, they cannot easily avoid counter-battery fire. So, why did North Korea develop such a clumsy system? The North Korean military doctrine includes hitting Seoul with 10,000 rounds within a minute in case of a war. Developed for this job, the M1978 M1989 has a range that would allow it to strike the capital of South Korea from behind the demilitarized zone. Yet, Western intelligence services estimated that the KPA only has around 500 of them. With basic math, we can say that 500 170mm SPGs with 2 rounds per every 5-minute maximum rate of fire need 20 minutes to send 10,000 projectiles. However, they are not alone. 240mm M1985 and M1991 multiple launch rocket systems accompany them. So, at least on paper, the KPA can send 10,000 rounds to Seoul within a minute. Probably, the North Korean military planners have considered possible losses. So, the KPA likely has more capability than the 10,000 rounds. the Republic of Korea Armed Forces has the technological advantage. So, the KPA balances it with numerical superiority. If South Korea attacks first, it has to deal with too many targets, which gives the KPA a chance to execute its devastating plan. Just 1 minute would be enough. Also, it is believed that the KPA developed the chemical munition for these 107mm SPGs. Besides, Kim Jong-il declared that North Korea was working on a nuclear artillery shell in 2001. Even though South Korean officials claimed that this program achieved little success in 2017, a little successful atomic projectile would still cause severe damage to the city and public psychology. The priority of the Kim family is to protect its dynasty rather than unifying Korea. Threatening Seoul with absolute devastation gives the Workers' Party of Korea essential leverage to prevent a possible South Korean attack. Still, the M1978 and M1989 are ancient weapons. As their name suggests, they were designed in the 1970s and 1980s. They are the children of tactical thought of 40 to 50 years ago. When North Korea began to work on the M1978, the Soviet Army still operated 9K-52 Luna M, whose NATO reporting name is Frog 7. Its 9M21 rocket had a range of 65 kilometers. So, North Korea developed a weapon system equal to the Luna M at a lower price. Also, a poorly trained crew could operate it, which was not the case for the more sophisticated Frog 7. For 20 years, North Korea has invested in ballistic and cruise missiles, which are more capable than artillery shells in every aspect. Also, North Korea proved it is a nuclear power with the test conducted in 2006. It means the KPA also acknowledged the M1978, M1989 are obsolete. The KPA can now attack all South Korean cities with more devastating weapons. So, the Kim family can protect its dynasty more efficiently against a possible South Korean attack. Many claim that not only the M1978 and M1989s, but also all self-propelled artillery systems are obsolete because of the drone threat. But it is not new. They have always been vulnerable to air attacks. For example, during the 1973 Yom Kippur War, the Iraqi hunters destroyed at least 3 M107 SPGs of the Israeli 329th Battalion, which highly resembled the M1978 M1989s. The only thing that changed is that the air threat comes from the drones now. However, in the military chessboard, all successful moves naturally pave the way for more successful counter moves. The drones are not excluded. Modern armies will find a solution eventually. A war between the two Koreas would be bloody. Both sides would suffer heavy losses. But it is not just a matter of the Koreans. Neither South nor North Korea can go to war with each other without the permission of the USA or China. So, a possible new Korean war will also be a Sino-US war. In that case, people will never think whether the M1978 and M1989 are meaningful weapon systems, since the world will have different concerns. The North Korean 170mm SPGs still have a function in the tension between the two Koreas and a high potential in a possible war. Let's assume that the M1978 and M1989 are utterly useless. Still, is it not a pleasure to watch their impressive and gigantic look? Thanks for watching our video, and please don't forget to subscribe to our channel and click the bell button to be notified of our new videos. Also, you can now click the join button to support our channel. And as always, we would greatly appreciate all of your likes, comments and shares.